assets. Happened to be a ship, great ship. 111 missiles going at very high rates of speed, sophisticated equipment. And you know, that's all they did is build missiles, thousands of missiles. Who does this except for people that are looking for trouble? We had 111 shot at one of our ships over a very short period of time. Out of 111 missiles going at 3,000 miles an hour, all 111 missiles were knocked down into the ocean long prior to arriving at the target. And the coolest guys are the guys that do this. You know, they're not brawn, they're brain. They sit back, missile shot. You're going to see it happening. Missiles coming. They got like about 13 seconds to make a decision. It's not like, gee, let's figure it out. They make a wrong calculation. You know, you lose a lot of men and a lot of.
Did you see that? Did you?
How much time? 30 seconds. I'm on right now. I don't believe you.
Run.
What?
How do you brew, good people? It's 10 bells. Welcome to the Brews at 10 on my left eye. The first live stream of the week. Solidari-Tea, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Floor Snake, first in the chats. How you doing there? Nice to see you. Thanks for throwing up the watermelons very early on as well. Let's brew this thing. Hope you've all had a good start to the week. It can't have been as bad as Starmer's, that's for sure. And that's what we're going to be looking at on tonight's stream, yes, is supposedly incredible, fantastic comeback speech. His umpteenth relaunch, reboot. It's sleeves rolled up time again. And we'll see what he's got. It's going to be a first time viewing for me. Try to add some entertainment. There will be a side feature as well, because just watching it straight would be, you know, mind-numbing. Watching it dry, as it were. And if you have seen it, please no spoilers in the chat as we go through the stream. Hit thumbs up as you join us as well. Graham, nice to see you. Tim Wilton as well, and Bilderberg. Very good evening. Solidarity, one and all. Yes, it's getting quite exciting, Bilderberg. It really is. Well, we've got some quality features to get excited about on this evening's stream. Did you say on yesterday's stream that you're going to be going to the London March on Saturday, Bilderberg? I'm still not decided. But if you are, and I do, it would be great to bump into you or whatever. Yeah, let me know. Thanks for throwing up the Palestine flags as well, everybody else. Viva Viva Palestina. Palestine will be coming up actually as well on the stream. And I won't say why without giving away the story. It's called suspense. One thing I can tell you is that we've got a poll on the stream. It's a polly stream. Or is it a streamy poll? Whichever way around it is. A very simple one. How many MPs are going to come out and call for Starmer to resign? There are already quite a lot. Yesterday I reported about 30. It has increased quite a bit since then. But do you think it'll finish under 100? Somewhere between 100 and the 172 required? Not quite there. Or do you think it'll be on or over the 172 to trigger a vote of no confidence? Because the names are getting added to the list by the hour at the moment. Earlier on it was practically by the minute. They were coming in 2s, 3s, 10s. Millions and billions and squillions. No, not that many. However, Catherine West has chickened out with the threat of a leadership challenge, which she made on Saturday, I believe. So that didn't last very long at all. Yeah, pretty much she challenged the cabinet to work out some sort of challenge between themselves, or she'd take over. They turned around in the cabinet and said, well, we're not going to do that. And now she's turned around and said, well, I'm not going to either. Yeah, but don't excuse me, don't bet the farm on Starmer being able to turn things around with this speech that we're going to get into. Member shoutouts, yes, 103. We got back over into the 3-figure arena recently. Thanks again for that. So these are all the current members. This is the hottest list from today. Lots of familiar names on there as well, of course. But however you choose to support us here at My Left Eye, whether it's on the streams with super chats, super stickers, which are available right now if you're watching, or super thanks if you're catching up later on. We do appreciate it. And of course, there's always the good old Buy Me a Coffee page there on the in the description of any content on the channel. And also thank you to those of you who've contributed hype points on our recent content. Yeah, if you're watching on a mobile device, like a phone or a tablet or something, open up one of our videos, hit the thumbs up button, and underneath there, just normally at the top of where the comments are, it should prompt you to give some hype points. They're completely free. You get a new quota every week, but it does help us out on the algorithm, so a few simple gestures is all it takes to support us at My Left Eye. And just finally, you can give us a follow on social media. We're on Blue Sky, Twitter and Mastodon. You're looking for My Left Eye UK as the handle. Thank you very much, everybody. Right, that's the stall temporarily closed. We'll have a comedy clip shortly and then we'll say hello to Keith.
Hello.
I mean, say hello, you know. Throw rotting fruit at him while he's standing giving his dreadful speech. And, I understand, Q&A with the press, which went down like a lead balloon.
Oh, God.
At Bilderberg, we got another 5 gifted memberships coming in. Thank you very much. Solidarity for that. Awesome stuff. Let's big up Bilderberg in the chat, please. Show some support for your comrades. And thanks once again for supporting the channel. It's great to see the community grow. Stanley Beckett, yeah, you thought Keith was the comedy clip. Well, he is, in a way. It's an extended comedy clip of sorts. And I bet that if you got hold of a sample of some, you know, the old-fashioned canned laughter that they used to use, well, not even that long ago. It's even really creepy when you see slightly more modern shows, comedies without the canned laughter on. But I'm getting distracted from the point. If you just took random samples and put them across Keir Starmer's speech, I bet you'd think they'd been deliberately edited in. It would be that fitting, yeah. Good to see the show, I should say, of support for Bilderberg as well in the chat. Nice one, people. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words. It's because I've not even touched my brew yet. It's like Popeye with spinach, you know. Oh, there we go. That's the stuff. Woo! I'm thinking of going and getting some sort of counselling. I'm over 4 cups a day at the moment. I'm sure I've probably gotten through 4 during a stream before. Well, goodness knows how I did that. Benny Hill tune. Yeah. Benny Hill tune is always appropriate in a lot of cases. Have used that before, actually. What was it? Oh yeah, of course, the ICE videos. Good stuff.
Socialists. Oh my god.
Bilderberg, you're watching from a train. That's awesome. I don't know if it's obviously not some kind of technological breakthrough or anything, but yeah. It's good to know that people watch on the go. Wherever you are at 10, you can't miss out on a brew. So we'll dive into the comedy clip. It's the exploding heads, but it isn't actually one that features Colin from Portsmouth. It's perhaps his slightly more reserved in tone, that is. Brother, cousin, something maybe, I don't know. But it's still the exploding heads. Check out the link in the description. Go and subscribe. There's a link to the video again if you want to watch it again.
We're hearing you have an exciting new piece of AI technology.
Yes, nearly AI.
Nearly AI.
We have a big room and we're filling it with monkeys and typewriters.
That is nearly AI.
Oh yes, and pretty soon one of them will be able to compose a work email.
That's great.
Well, actually, we were just talking if you randomly took some snippets of canned laughter and threw it over Starmer's speech, it would eventually fit. And do you know that Dark Side of the Moon syncs up to the Wizard of Oz something something?
Great news for business. How long until companies can fire all of their employees?
Very soon, we hope.
Thank goodness.
Our plan is, once these monkeys have mastered helping you compose that work email, they can move on to diagnosing medical conditions, strategizing the occasional war.
It frees up the people that used to do work so that they can spend more time doing what they want to do, like buying this product.
And it'll be a lot cheaper for them to buy because no humans are involved.
It drives down the cost of living then. Perfect. Any issues so far?
No issues.
No issues. Great.
There is rather a lot of excrement, granted.
But there always will be. We knew that when we all signed up for this.
And one monkey did accidentally bomb a hospital, but a couple of other monkeys started doing the medical diagnosing, so that fixed itself.
Well, that's a win-win, isn't it?
Yes, it's very exciting.
Can they compose a work email?
No.
That's great progress.
And as soon as they do, we can get more people out.
We're hearing you.
Good. Oh, very good. Exploding heads. Go and check them out. Yeah, just a short one. Short but sweet. Well, that's very honest of you, Floor Snake. You would have got away with lying if you'd said you were watching from a tree. What's the strangest place you've watched the Brews at 10? Let us know in the chat. And don't say, like, town names for a joke. I mean, as in, like, maybe a tree or whilst hang gliding. If you were out with Ed Davey or something, hang gliding into a canoe. I had the Brews at 10 on while I was watching my first child being born. No, that'd be dedication. Fascism Watch, nice to see you. Thanks for your comments on our recent video as well. Do appreciate that. What was I? Yeah, I've done the plug for Exploding Heads. Links and so on. You know how it goes. Vicky Cleese with us. Solidari-Tea, Vicky. Hope you've been well. Keir's already appointed new ministerial age. Yeah, 3 have quit. I mean, we're back to when the posh boys are in trouble, they sack the servants territory. Just like the Morgan McSweeney thing, so on and so forth. Who was the other one? Anyway, yeah. He'll sack everybody but himself. So that twinned with this new speech. God, which of the 5 or 6 steps are we up to at the moment, Keith, from the other relaunch? What was the other one? There was the 5 or 6 steps, wasn't there? There have been so many. but we'll see if there's anything similar this time. Of course, just a reminder, it's a first time viewing for me. And there is going to be, I think, well, that's what it says here, a bit of some sort of game to go with it. Notes, what's going on here, Phil? Yeah, so, bar the first couple of seconds, haven't seen a single bit of it, but I do know, of course, he didn't go outside and give a great speech in front of the public. Oh no, it was all behind closed doors. And of course, hand-picked journalists, hand-picked members of the party to basically stand in front of him and clap like sycophantic circus seals to try and cheer him up a bit, you know. The same has happened after the last time he nearly had to quit with the whole scandals and thing. And there'll be something else next month, or within weeks, or possibly days. So according, yeah, we do have a game to go along with it, and it's the Postman Swat game. So we keep score. Just check I've got everything in order here. Andy Carter, good evening. Yeah, we've got everything in order, so what have we got, Phil? Hope it's classy and not just, you know, some sort of legally negligible thing that will probably ruin the childhood of everybody over the 50, just so, over the age of 50, just so that I can vent my frustration at the overuse of the word deliver, which has now given me a complex. Alright. What have you got, Producer Phil?
Delivering the plan for change.
That was quality, Phil. Excellent stuff. Great work. Have yourselves an extra 30 seconds on your break. Yeah, so it's essentially mini Keith's catchphrases game. And we're going to keep count of how many times he says deliver. See how many times Postman Swat makes an appearance. You'll hear this noise every time that confounded word is mentioned. Right, shall we?
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it. Get on with it.
Thank you.
So it starts off.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you, Jay. They were such powerful words. Thank you for that introduction. The election results last week were tough. Very tough. We lost some brilliant Labour representatives.
Tough. They keep saying tough. Heard it from Lammy. Pretty much everybody's, yeah, tough. They were tough. They were catastrophic. They were catastrophic. You got electioned in the face is what happened, Keith. Jesus Christ. Green Party tore you a new arsehole. You opened the door wide open for reform by trying to outflank them from the right. Yes, tough. It was existentially bad. Existentially catastrophic. You tosser. Well, I'm starting to feel better already with the venting, so that's just a few seconds in. Let's see how much more I can let out.
That hurts. And I take responsibility. But it's not just...
So step down, quit, resign, be gone. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. If you're going to take responsibility, that's the only reasonable thing to do. If you are, in fact, responsible, if you do, in fact, care more about the feelings of the British public or the existence of your own party than your own career and its now brief longevity, that's all we need to hear. It should be a pretty short speech, this. So hopefully those few words will follow this sentence.
About taking responsibility for the results.
Yeah, okay, so he quit.
It's about taking responsibility to explain how, as a political and electoral
we don't need
force,
an explanation.
we will
Just
be better and do
off
better
you go.
In the months and years ahead.
What?
Because we are not plunging our country into chaos as the Tories did time and...
Sorry, these aren't my cuts. It seems to sort of jump between bits. I've not edited it this way. That's from the source, which was supposedly professional.
Again, chaos that did lasting damage to this country. A Labour government would never be forgiven for inflicting that on our country again.
God. But even they knew when the game was up. Keith? Even the Tories knew. Cameron, of course, made a very hasty decision. He was the first one of them to go very quick after the referendum result, because he knew he didn't stand a cat in hell's chance after that, having campaigned for us to remain. Different circumstances, but he still knew. Look at the chaos around us. Look at the chaos that has led to people voting against you. That's cost you to the tune of over 1,400 council seats, control of the Welsh Senedd, and a loss of even more seats in Holyrood. You wanker.
I know that people are frustrated by the state of Britain, frustrated by politics, and some people
frustrated by you. You.
With me.
Yes. So fuck off. Fucking fuck off. Vaffanculo.
I know I have my doubters, and I know I need to prove them wrong, and I will. So, let me start on a...
Okay then. I doubt that you'll quit. I very strongly, firmly doubt that you'll quit, so prove me wrong. Please.
He's an asshole, sir.
Personal note. Like every Prime Minister, I've learned a lot in the first 2 years in the job. In terms of the policy challenges that our country faces, incremental change
Haven't been many that have lasted 2 years recently, Keith.
Won't cut it. On growth, defence, Europe, energy, we need a bigger response than we anticipated in 2024.
Well, speaking of 2024, it was just going through my mind that it appears that you don't know that it's 2026 and you've gone straight back to the election canvassing, basically. as though we haven't had the last 2 years, as though we don't know that any series or sequence or combination or permutation of words that exits your mouth couldn't do any of the damage that you've done or convince the public and indeed your own party that you're the right man to lead this country. But you appear to be the only one who doesn't realise this. Nobody, even from his own cabinet, is getting firmly behind him. They just, in the media rounds over the last few days, they've been very unenthusiastic in backing Keir Starmer. You can sense that in the tone of the voice. Nobody's like 100%, yes, I'm behind this man, and it's like they've got a gun to the head and they're like, oh yeah, he will be the Prime Minister at the next election. He's got a 10-year plan. Please don't fucking sack me in the reshuffle or put me in some shitty position that I don't like. I'll do what you say. But we all know what he's done. And if he thinks he can go back to square one and start electioneering again, then he's got another thing coming. Because he absolutely can't.
Because the...
bear with people. Got a bit of buffering on the studio. Hope you can hear me. Just check this out.
Will. So...
Should be
let me
okay for everybody
on a
now.
Personal note. Like every Prime Minister, I've learned a lot in the first 2 years in the job. In terms of the policy challenges that our country faces, incremental change won't cut it. On growth, defence, Europe, energy, voters feel. We're battling reform and the Greens. But at a deeper level, we're battling the despair on which they prey. Despair that they exploit and amplify. And so analysis matters, but argument matters more. Evidence matters, but so too does emotion. Stories beat spreadsheets.
You need, just even from a very neutral standpoint, Keith, you need to win voters back from Reform and the Greens, and this is not the way that you go about it. You're all a bunch of twats for voting for Reform, and the Greens, extremist this, and trying to call Greens far left when they barely just lurching into democratic socialism. Let's be honest. Incredible. Can't buy a word of it.
I find that rather difficult to believe.
People need hope. So we will face up to the
They've
big
got it,
challenges.
but not with
and
you.
we will make the big arguments, the Labour case, that only Labour values and Labour policies can ensure our country not only weathers...
What about Clause 4? How's about that for a Labour value? Which was removed under Blair. Clause 4, which specifically categorised the Labour Party as a democratic socialist party.
...these storms, but emerges stronger and fairer. And the Labour case, that neither Nigel Farage nor Zach Polansky offers our country the serious progressive leadership that these times demand.
Well, before they do continue to clap like sycophantic circus seals, that they're about to, I guess, Zach Polansky does actually offer real hope, and certainly a lot more progressive policies than you've churned out in the last 2 years. What do you define as progressive? Cutting benefits for anybody who has more than 2 children, being forced into a U-turn on it. Winter fuel, that sort of thing, is that progressive? You've got very little to shout about and a mountain of things to be criticised for. And you're just an outright liar. You lied in your manifesto pledges. You lied when you became the leader. The game's up. We've had 11 fucking years of it, Keith, of his deception since he became a Labour member, and then obviously undermined Corbyn, so on and so forth. Slimed his way into being the leader of the party, and now here we are, after being elected on a loveless landslide. Right, there's quite a bit to get through, so I'll try not to interject so much. He just pisseth me off so much.
Of course, like every government, we've made mistakes. But we got the big political choices right. I mean, if we'd listened to the advice of other parties, right now we'd be stuck in a standoff with Iran, having been dragged into a war that is not in our interest, and I will never do that.
Just very quickly, a short time ago, he was gloating that the RAF sprung into action and started to shoot down Iranian missiles. Probably, stood in front of the press like he is now, gloating about it, and now he's back to the we're not involved, because it doesn't suit him at the moment that we're involved. So now he's switched back.
We have invested in our public services, in people, in the pride of Britain's communities. Difficult decisions funded.
A handful of breakfasts,
but now,
I think he means.
NHS waiting lists are coming down.
Cooking the
Child
books.
poverty is coming down. Immigration is coming down. And we are rebuilding from the ground up. They were the right calls. And most of all, we stabilised the economy. The fundamentals are sound. And that matters, because it puts us in a much better place.
They are not.
To come out
I
of
don't
the
have the time
conflict
to
in
go
Iran
into
stronger and
full
fairer,
economic review.
and for living standards to improve after 2 decades of stagnation.
We have 4 million children in poverty, Keith. 4 million. That's 1 in 3 households, families.
But that's not enough, clearly.
You're not enough.
No. For the British people, tired of a status quo that has failed them, change cannot come quickly enough.
You have a knighthood. You are the status quo.
And truth be told, I'm not sure that they believe that we care. I'm not sure they believe that we see their lives. That's tough to say.
What the fuck is he doing?
When you come from a working class background like me,
oh no, don't start
it's
this.
hard to hear that. Because I do know what it's like to struggle and to strive.
You're supposed to be resigning here, pal.
what I
We don't
take
need the
from
life story again.
Is that I've spent too much time talking about what I am doing for working people and not enough time talking about why,
No,
or who I stand for.
You've done virtually fuck all for the working class, avoiding saying the word class again. Yeah, we do notice that, He always says working people and not the working class.
Oh, what a giveaway. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, eh? That's what I'm on about.
But you certainly had nothing to shout about. This is, again, things that he just made up. I don't know all these times that you stood there and told us what you did for the working class, but I sure wasn't around.
What the fuck is going on up there?
Okay, Keith, carry on. Calamitous cunt.
Because I can see how hard life has been during these decades of crisis. I can see that very clearly. My late brother Nick spent all his adult life going from one job to the next. The status quo did not work for him.
The fucking state of you bringing your family into this, trying to milk some sympathy because of your family and your sister and mom and dad and this. It's disgusting.
The status quo did not work for her. For too long we've ignored people like that And there are millions of people in that boat, millions of people who don't get the dignity, the respect, the chance that they deserve to go as far as their talent and effort should take them. Millions of people held back because the status quo in this country does not work for them.
Please do not insult my intelligence by attempting to separate yourself from the status quo. You are a Prime Minister, you have a knighthood, you are the former Director of Public Prosecutions. Okay? You have spent your life trying to become the status quo. Unfortunately, you've achieved a large part of your ambition so far, and that's why we have to suffer watching you on this stage, giving the most desperate appeal to people not to throw you out, and to your colleagues not to stab you in the back and call for a vote of no confidence or challenge you to leadership or whatever. Just, have you not an ounce of dignity? Not an ounce.
I am fighting for them. We are fighting for them. I am their Prime Minister and this is their government.
And again, a reminder, they're all hand-picked people who are clapping. This isn't him drumming up support from a neutral audience. It's all staged. It's all set up to convince us and to try and make him feel better. He's utterly failing in those counts. Yeah, just the shirt and no tie and the sleeves, it's all manufactured. They think we're stupid.
Because I know whose side I'm on. I'm on the side of working people just like my sister. People who work harder and harder, but who worry about the cost of living. They're not
That's the real audience.
They just want to do the best for their kids. They want their town centres, the places they care about, to thrive. Their public services to work. And people in power to see their problems.
The buses cost 50% more because of you, Keith.
And right now, they're worried sick. They turn on the TV, they see bombs falling. They go to the petrol station, see prices rising, and they think, how is this happening to us again?
Because you're doing it to them again. Oh, God. Please just be self-aware for one moment. Please just take responsibility for your actions. Just as long as you need to drum up the balls to resign.
They say, how can I be paying the price for a war thousands of miles away that I don't support, that Britain isn't involved in?
Well, they could have swore that they saw you gloating about the RAF when it suited you. No, that's not what people are wondering. People are wondering, why the hell has this guy still got a job? And why is he going on about his toolmaker dad again? Mum was a nurse. Get bent, man.
And it's not a new feeling, is it?
No. What, a relaunch?
For
No.
2 decades, our country has been buffeted by crisis after crisis. The 2008 financial crash, the Tory austerity that followed it, Brexit, COVID, Ukraine
reeling back
war,
the years
on and on
with
it
Keith.
goes. And the response is always the same. A desperate attempt to get back to the status quo, a status quo that failed working people time and again.
But for this speech to supposedly be addressing the local elections, he said very little about them so far, apart from at the beginning where he said they were tough. And now we're going on a trip down memory lane. The Blitz, it's going to start. The Wars of the Roses were tough times. The Battle of Bannockburn was a tough time.
fuck is going on up there?
Our response this time must be different. A complete break. We must make this country stronger, take control of our economic security, our energy security, our defence security, and we must make this country fairer.
This is the bit where you clap.
That awkward. I'll just take that back a couple of seconds. Because there's no way they'd be naturally inclined to produce a round of applause. Of course.
Our response this time must be different. A complete break. We must make this country stronger, take control of our economic security, our energy security, our defence security, and we must make this country fairer.
Oh, who was it in the clip? The American... Sorry, I'm having a brain fart. When he literally verbally prompted the audience to clap. He said, please clap. Oh, God. It'll come to me. But it's one of those moments.
Something fairer.
I'm surprised we've not had one deliver yet, to be honest.
Strength through fairness. That is my compass in this world.
Oh, God, it's another catchphrase. They're not the party of slogans, remember? Remember when he came out with that one? Strength through... Look at that fucking buy your used car off me grin there in the freeze frame. Strength through fairness.
That's what I'm all about, you know. That's my philosophy, baby.
It is a core Labour argument. And in the coming days, you will see those values writ large in the King's speech.
Oh, the King's speech isn't going to pull you out of this one. Most people oppose the monarchy outright.
The status quo have been around for so long, people are sick of them. Anyway, the King's speech is coming up. And you're really going to get a kick out of that, peasant, citizens.
Just almost within sentences of one another. Slagging off the status quo, and then bigging up the King with a big parliamentary speech.
Oh, what a giveaway. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, eh? That's what I'm on about.
And you will see hope, urgency, and exactly whose side we're on reflected in everything we say and everything we do. So let me give you 3 examples today. Starting...
No, it's really getting into fucking sales pitch. It's getting pure partridge now.
The 3 stages will go as follows.
Oh no, he's got stages now. This is it. It's gonna be crap. What's he trying to sell us? Oh, what he's saying in chat. Sorry, I got a bit distracted. Yeah, even the King will be on strike at this rate, Andy. Yeah, he hasn't delivered anything. That's why we are still on 0, which I can't believe. It's a good few minutes into this speech now. Sot and Steve, nice to see you in chat. Right, let's just crack through. Goodness me. Fucking hell. Who wrote this? Bring them to me.
With British Steel. Because what we did in Scunthorpe last year is one of the proudest things we have done in government. That plant was hours away from closure, and that is thousands of jobs gone. An entire region decimated, Britain's security exposed. And so we acted. Parliament was in recess, but it didn't matter. As a united Labour Party, we passed emergency legislation and we took control.
I'll tell you one thing you won't say throughout however long this fucking lasts, is tax the rich, which is the one very simple solution to a lot of all of this. Again, he's very reaching here. The sounds of the barrel scraping are somewhat eminent.
And we must bring that same urgency to everything now. Starting, appropriately enough, with Scunthorpe. Because steel is the ultimate sovereign capability. Strong nations in a world like this...
Steel is the ultimate sovereign capability. All right.
...need to make steel. That's why we're backing steel in Port Talbot and across the UK. But in Scunthorpe, we've been negotiating with the current owner, and a commercial sale has not been possible. And now a public interest test could be met. So I can announce that legislation will be brought forward this week to give the government powers, subject to that public interest test, to take full national ownership of British steel.
I was expecting a resignation after a brief apology for the local elections, and I've been pitched a sales meeting for a steel plant that probably won't ever come to fruition.
Public ownership in the public interest. Urgent government on the side of working people. Making Britain stronger with the hope of industrial renewal. That is a Labour choice.
Anything that happens hereafter will be because basically tried to get away with doing nothing and get away with it. So it's all invalid. It's, he's being forced to bring in any new policies that he actually does. But it's, of course, not genuine. It's very disingenuous. I have no intention of doing this when he became leader. He just thinks that it'll save him, that it'll dig him out of this hole. So he's going to be like, oh, well, you can have a few bits here and there if you live in Scunthorpe. But no, things are crumbling at a national level. He's just, again, tiptoeing around the edges, even if he does follow through on that pledge, promise. We know his track record on that.
Second example, Europe. And I'm sorry, but I need to take a bit of a detour on this, because I want to remind you what Nigel Farage said about Brexit. He said
we know what he
it would
said.
make us richer.
We want to hear you say, I resign with immediate effect.
Wrong. It made us poorer. He said it would reduce migration. Wrong. Migration went through the roof. He said it would make us more secure. Wrong again. It made us weaker.
Do you know what you said about leaving the EU, Starmer? You said that Labour were going to promise a second referendum before you ran it past Corbyn and announced it live on television, so that approximately 50% of people who voted for Labour would ditch them, etc., in a deliberate and very underhanded move, as opposed to any genuine passion for remaining in the EU. You just treat this issue like a political football and kick it about whenever it suits you. And in your very manifesto, you in fact promised that we wouldn't be rejoining the EU. And now you're talking about closer relationship with Europe, but without joining the single market or customs union. And again, you're trying to pull people both ways, just when it suits you. So I guess this stage, is it stage 2 of 3? Is about trying to win as many Lib Dem voters as he can by toying with the idea of rejoining the EU, but not saying it, being very careful and selective in his language and saying a closer relationship with Europe or the European Union, whichever. But certainly not saying rejoin, certainly not saying, single market, customs union, etc. Can't have your cake and eat it, Keith. But have a P45.
He took Britain for a ride, and unlike the Tories, actually, who at least had to face up to it, he just fled the scene. And now he'll talk about almost anything.
You should flee the scene.
The consequences of the one policy he actually delivered.
Oh, we're back. Yeah, sorry. Don't know what happened there. Not sure how much we missed out, but we'll just go from here. I hope it wasn't too long. Sorry about that. I didn't notice it was buffering on the. It was on the YouTube studio there.
And third, the greatest hope. The hope that every parent has of a better future for their children. And I want parents to feel that that is shared by their government. Now, my parent, don't worry, I'm not going there. But...
Gosh, even, making jokes about your own repetitive, why don't you turn it into a little game? Got some hints for you. You might want to watch tomorrow. Watch back PMQs.
They didn't have a lot of money. And my mum was seriously ill for almost all of her life. But when they were in their later years, reflecting on what gave their life meaning, I could see that, as well as their hope in us, their kids, what comforted them was the idea that they had contributed to a Britain that was getting better for young people, that kids now had a better opportunity than they did. And so I have always been driven by the idea that every child should go as far as their talent or effort takes them. It's a beautiful idea, shared widely across this country. We tell ourselves stories about it, don't we? Stories, not unlike mine, about the working class kids who do make it. And I don't blame people for telling those stories. It's important to tell those stories.
The only story that I want to hear is I quit the end. That'll do.
But it's not everyone, is it? So when I say every child should have the opportunity to go as far as their talent or effort takes them, I mean every child. I mean the kids who are growing up in poverty, the kids who have special educational needs, the kids who can't get a job, and the kids who are ignored, frankly, because society often only puts those who go to university on a pedestal.
My God, I don't know how much more of this I can fucking take.
We don't really see anything else as success. And that is wrong, deeply wrong. So we will go much further on our investment in apprenticeships, in technical excellence colleges, in special educational needs. We will make sure that every young person struggling to find a job will get a guaranteed offer of a job.
It's you, Keith. People are sick of the fucking sight and the sound of you. That was what came upon the doorsteps. None of this fucking shit that you're talking about. People, the steel industry in Scunthorpe and everything else that he's coming out with here, it's really pathetic. No, it's you. It's you. That is what they complained about. That is why they said they weren't voting for Labour. It is you.
Training or work placement. And we will go much further with our Pride in Place programme. Back the millions of people who give their time and their effort to young people in their community. We will back them not just with money, but with power.
You won't back
and we
them
will
with
make
money
sure
or
that kids whose talent lies with their hands, kids who go to college, kids ignored by the status quo, because politicians' kids don't go there. They will finally get the respect that they deserve in a stronger, fairer Britain. That is the Labour choice.
This, you know, there's surreal, and then there's this. Just this has nothing to do with the local elections whatsoever.
These are just a few examples.
Don't give us any more. Just tell us that you're leaving.
In our direction. They show the Labour values we will be guided for.
Labour don't have values. They don't have morals. You're all self-serving, neoliberal careerists trying to get away with as much as you can. And it's only when your balls are really against the wall that you pretend to care, that you pretend to give out a few things here and there. And then you don't even follow up on that.
And they show, frankly, the lessons that we will learn. Now, other parties will draw different lessons. In fact, they already are. They want more grievance politics, more division, more pointing at Britain's problems, looking not for solutions, but for someone to blame.
You're the one to blame, and it's a pretty easy target as well.
Now, that's fine if it's me. If it's politicians, that's the job. But increasingly, it's not. It's other people in this country. And I don't think that's British. That is not the decency and respect that we are known for. But it's here. That politics is with us now. And you'll see it again on Saturday at a march designed to confront and intimidate this diversity and this
if you're talking about the Palestine March, you can absolutely fuck off.
You fascist junta!
Peasants Revolt, nice to see you in chat. Well, let's see who's going to say.
That is why this Labour government will block far-right agitators.
Or is it a fucking Yaxley Lennon thing? Right, okay. That's not as bad as I thought it was. But he's done nothing to stop the far right. Just look what's happening. And this pathetic attempt from the few people on social media trying to defend him as well. So, oh, no. He shouldn't quit now, because then Reform are going to love that, aren't they? Well, they've already got a massive lead in the polls, and that's because of this guy. The thing that they're warning us about is already happening. Just, again, a complete lack of self-awareness from Starmer and anyone still dumb enough to back him.
From travelling to Britain for that event. Because we will not allow people to come to the UK, to threaten our communities, and spread hate on our streets.
Well, you don't allow retirees and disabled people to sit silently holding placards against genocides or the prescription of groups that oppose genocide, to be even more specific, do you? Values.
This is nothing less than a battle for the soul of our
what a
nation.
giveaway. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, eh?
And I want to be crystal
That's what I'm
clear
on about
how we will win it. Because we cannot win as a weaker version.
You have lost. You are losing. you've lost at the last two set of local elections, the only two that have been held since you've been Prime Minister. You, again, trying to warn us about the things that are already happening, that have already well, we can't let this happen. You are losing. You have lost. You lost nearly 1,500 fucking seats. Control of the Senate. And taken another kick in the balls north of the border in Scotland as well.
Reform or the Greens, we can only win as a stronger version of Labour, a mainstream party of power, not protest.
Don't do the power, not protest thing again. Dick, look where it's led you. Look where this absolute neoliberal trash has led you.
And I also want to be really clear on this, because I will never stop fighting for the decent, respectful, diverse country that I love. I will never give up on the hope we can unlock in this country, the hope of renters for security in their home, of workers for fairness at work, of public services freed from austerity, the hope of European solidarity, of community pride, of the people who paint over the graffiti that is racist. A country taking control of its future, our spirit unchanged, our resolve unbroken, the hope of a country that can and will become a stronger, fairer Britain. That is the hope I'm fighting for. That is the hope we are fighting for. That is the Labour choice. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was the biggest load of crap I've ever heard.
Thank you.
Fuck off. Look at him. Oh.
Thank you very much.
Look at him. That's pathetic.
I'm now going to take some questions from the media, and I'm starting with Chris Mason. Chris.
Oh, fuck Chris Mason. Fuck Chris Mason in the fucking ear.
Thank you. Chris Mason, BBC News. Prime Minister, do you think in your gut what you have said is enough this morning? And what do you say directly to those of your colleagues who are weighing up right now whether to back you or to suggest that you should go? And if I may, would you back continuing to block Andy Burnham from trying to return to Parliament?
Well, Chris, there's a lot packed into that question. What I'm doing is setting out the response, the direction that we need to take. And the acknowledgement that in the world we live in now, we need a bigger response than 2024. It is a different world. And an acknowledgement that this isn't the first shock the country's been through with the Iran conflict. We've had plenty of those in the last 20 years. But every time, the government of the day...
I just really hate how, they read this back to themselves or whatever, and they think that'll do. Like I said, no combination, permutation, sequence of words that he says will do, but they think it will. All they know is boardroom talk and all this robotic spiel. So it's all that they can produce. It just goes to amplify the disconnect that they have with the British public. Certainly the disconnect that Keir Starmer has with the working classes and the public wholesale. Hence this ridiculous, farcical staged appearance here. But it really does grind my gears, if you will, because I think that we came down with the last drop of rain.
Has tried to get back to a status quo that doesn't work. And we're not going to do that this time. That is the urgent task facing our country. We were elected into office to change this country, to bring about the change that is needed. The frustration that has been spoken about is a frustration of at least 20 years, if not more. That is what we're charged with changing. That is what we will change. In relation to Andy Burnham, obviously, any future decision is for...
It's been the 2 years that you've been Prime Minister. What's he got to say about Andy Burnham?
For the NEC. Andy's doing a great job as Mayor in Manchester. And I actually work really well with Andy, and I'll give you two examples. On Northern Powerhouse Rail, which is...
He asked you if you'd block him from standing as an MP again. Not, oh, we go way back and he's going to spin us another yarn.
Really important for the Northwest. We are working together on that.
Are you going to block him?
But equally, we've stood together to support Manchester.
Are you going to block him from standing
when we had
again?
a terrible attack on a synagogue last year, and he was the first person I phoned, and I went straight to Manchester
Keith,
to work
answer
with
the
him
question.
on our response. So we work very well together, but the actual decision will be one for the NEC. Thank you, Chris, very much. Beth?
It'll be one for the
Sky
NEC. It'll be one for the NEC. What? Who will do whatever you tell them because you've rigged it full of sycophants?
Thank you. Prime Minister, back in 2021, when Labour lost hundreds of council seats in the Hartlepool by-election, you thought about resigning as a Labour leader, explaining, this is quoting you, "I didn't feel I should be bigger than the party." But these results, this moment, is so much worse than then. You've lost nearly 1,500 councillors, 40 councils, you've lost Wales. Haven't you, for one moment, thought you should step aside in the interests of the party and country? And if you haven't...
Yeah, no, it's Beth Rigby. Well, it sounds like Beth Rigby. But the question is very apt. It's a lot better than fucking Mason's effort.
Why haven't you? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Beth. I think what we witnessed with the last government was the chaos of constantly changing leaders.
No.
And it cost this country...
It was austerity.
A huge amount. A huge amount.
He can't get... You know, it's like a cancer, isn't he? You can't get rid of me, the whole thing will crumble down. No, it won't. That would be the remedy. The problem wasn't switching prime ministers so often. The problem was austerity, neoliberal Tory policies, the kind that you've perpetuated. If you won't even acknowledge that, then your lack of awareness is through the roof. Plants McGee, thank you for that very generous super chat there. It would cost 10 to 30 billion a year to end child poverty. It's a political choice to keep 1 in 3 children in poverty. That's 0.5 to 1% of GDP. Your childhood was a fight for survival due to poverty. Thank you very much for that super chat, Plants McGee. Yeah, and absolutely correct. It's a drop in the ocean. It's a political choice, the same way as a lot of choices are. The ones that could be, again, cured by a proper and permanent wealth on the tax, more like the one that we had during the 1960s, for example. Instead of businesses having such a stronghold on politics as well, there has to be that separation and segregation between business and politics, because the whole system is rotten to the core. Travesty of justice, as Andy Carter's pointing out there. Thanks again. Plants McGee, big up in the chat, everybody. Right, carry on, Keith.
On with it. Yes, get on with it. Get on with it.
I might not.
And I'll tell you
too
who
much
paid the
more
price.
of
It was working
Q&A.
people. They paid the price of this. They are still paying the price of it.
I think I remember the question. It was essentially highlighting that he said he felt he didn't deserve to be the leader in 2025 after those devastating losses, and felt that he was putting himself in front of the party, which he is clearly doing again this time. So let's see how he tries to completely avoid that question and just repeat a small segment of what he said, because they programmed the speech into him, and now at this point all it can do is randomly select segments from said speech as answers to the questions, because you know, there's a limited amount of RAM.
A Labour government will not inflict that on our country again. We were elected with a mandate to change this country because of what had gone before. And that is what we will do. Yes, I acknowledge the frustration. Yes, I acknowledge the results are tough. Yes, I acknowledge that we've lost brilliant representatives across the United Kingdom. And I have a responsibility for that. But I also have a responsibility to deliver the change that we were elected and that we promised this country. And I'll deliver on that. Thank you very much, Beth.
Oh, and a quick double. And a quick double. You can never bet against Postman Twat. You can never bet against him.
What's Vic said to you this weekend?
Vic is a rock, and we talk everything through together, as you know. Robert Peston from ITV.
Prime Minister, these were arguably the worst election results for Labour in 100 years. And, I spent all weekend, as you'd expect, talking to your MPs and ministers, and most of them said to me that they do think your time is up. So what would...
Yeah, the circus seals. No way! No way! Is that what it says on the card I was given when I came in? It says here, when Peston speaks, you shout, no way! Did I do good, Keith?
Persuade you that you're not the best person for this job. And just on this issue of this is no longer the time for incremental change.
Yeah, it's 3 now.
When you were elected, we'd had 15 years of no growth. We'd had Putin's war that led to the worst energy spike in history. Many would say Brexit had failed. Why didn't you get it then?
Come on, Peston.
Well, Robert, look, I'm not going to...
Yeah, you're sort of asking him why he's not quitting, but fuck me, don't do the rip-off bills because Russia thing when we only got 4% of our gas from Russia. Fucking hell.
Shy away from the fact that I've got some doubters, including in my own party.
It's beyond doubt.
And I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I have to prove them wrong, and I will. I had my doubters when I took on the Labour Party. I had my doubters who said we couldn't change this party and make it capable of winning an election. And I proved them wrong. And when we did that, I had my doubters who said...
You haven't proved anyone wrong apart from, the likes of James O'Brien on LBC and, oh yes, finally, adults in the room, all of that business, and then to the student politics and, the kind of things that the neolibs liked to shout about. You proved them wrong, but you didn't prove us wrong. Everything has gone as I have foreseen it.
You can't lead us to a general election victory after the loss in 2019. It was so bad. It's not possible. And I proved them wrong. I'm going to prove them wrong again here.
Again, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong because I doubt that you'll quit.
I also feel a deep sense of personal responsibility to deliver on the mandate that we won at that 2024 election. The first Labour government for 14 years that had to come in and clear up the mess and build a better Britain. That is what I came into politics to do, and that is what I will deliver. Thank you very much. And Robert, the second, on the incremental. Look, you heard what I said about Scunthorpe. This is an example of the urgency.
Oh, he's rope adopters, hasn't he? He's rope adopters with the Postman Twats. He thought he was getting weak, and then he comes out with a combination at the end. That's classic twattery. That is. We've seen it before. We've seen him use these tactics before, Larry, and this time, again, he's come out fighting, and Keith's on the canvas.
Type of decisions that we need to make. The same with Europe. A bigger response, a bigger argument that has been made before, because we're living in different times. The Iran war comes on top of all the other crises we've faced for 20 years. We have to learn the lesson. Every single time in the past, we've simply tried to get back as quickly as possible to a status quo that didn't work. We can't do the same again.
Why does he
That's
keep
why we need
this new obsession with the word status quo now? All of a sudden. Oh yeah, you're so rebellious and against the state, unless he's referring to the band. Are the surviving members getting back together again? All of a sudden, now he wants to tell us that he's edgy and anti-establishment. Sir Keir Starmer, former Director of Public Prosecutions.
Hello, King. Come in and read this for us. This will make everybody like us. We're the expensive things that we stole from other countries. Have you got the stick that's worth more than a family will earn in their lifetimes? Several times over. And have you got the big one that's worth more than the GDP of several countries? Oh. Anti-establishment Keith.
A bigger response. Thank you very much, Robert. I've got Catherine Foster from GB News. Catherine.
Thank you, Catherine Foster, GB News. Prime Minister, the Labour Party was founded to represent...
It's sort of like checking in. He says the name, and then she says the name, checking in. She introduces herself after he's introduced her. I don't know if they've all done that so far. We've got Catherine Foster, GB News. Yes, Catherine Foster, GB News, checking in.
A bigger response, a bigger
Was it GB
argument
News?
that has been made before, because we're living in different times. The Iran war comes on top of all the other crises we've faced for 20 years. We have to learn the lesson. Every single time in the past, we've simply tried to get back as quickly from GB News. Catherine.
Thank you.
To get back as quickly as possible to a status quo that didn't work. We can't do the same again. That's why we need a bigger response. Thank you very much, Robert. I've got Catherine Foster from GB News. Catherine.
Thank you, Catherine Foster, GB News. Prime Minister, the Labour Party...
You heard her name
founded
3
to
times in
represent the
a second.
working class, many of whom
Catherine, is it?
voted for Brexit because they felt left behind.
Oh, right.
You've said yourself that the status quo is not working, but you're standing here in London...
Oh, of course, yes. A majority of GBB's viewers, some of them, quite a few of them, I'd imagine, still staunch Brexiteers, as it were. I hate the term Brexit, to be honest. Really do. Hated it at the time it was happening. Hate it now, yeah. Leaving the EU. Doesn't take long to say. The words European Union can be an acronym. Anyway, so she's going to piss and moan, is she, about this into a closer relationship with Europe.
A stronger relationship with Europe. Put up or shut up, if you want me to go. Catherine West.
And you're promising more Europe. You lost so much of your core
More
vote
Europe.
in the red...
Right, yeah, here's £50 billion. Go down the shops and get me some more Europe.
wall in Wales, in Scotland, because working class communities feel that the Labour Party has abandoned them and that you don't get it. Are they wrong?
Well, Catherine, thank you very much. On Brexit, the reason I reminded everyone what Nigel Farage said is because that was the promise he put to the country. That we'd be stronger, we'd be richer, we'd have lots of money for the NHS, immigration would come down, and it all proved to be false. And he doesn't take any responsibility. He's not going back to the country now saying it was a good thing, you've all benefited. He'll talk about almost anything else apart from the consequences of the one thing that he delivered for the country, Brexit. He doesn't want to talk about that, and there's a reason for that. It didn't help working people. It turned...
Well, Keith, you dodged the issue of Europe like a bullet for years. Until you got the weather vane up, and then, let's see which way people are going. And if it had gone the other way, he'd still be saying, oh, no. They wouldn't even mention it, wouldn't even hear the word. Such a snake.
That what he said wasn't true.
So that's 6.
That's why he doesn't want to talk about it now. But we have to talk about it now. Because we have to address the situation we're in. We have to give this country a stronger economy, a stronger defence and security set of arrangements, given the world we are living in. And that's why I said what I've said about being closer to Europe, and this government being defined by bringing Europe back together again, and Britain at the heart of Europe.
Okay, he's saying every series again and combinations of words without saying rejoin the European Union. It's smoke and mirrors. Just to appease Lib Dem voters, mostly. Lance McGee, thanks again. You want to send in flowers with a card and the word resign? Yeah, please do add my signature to that, if you'd be so kind. Yeah. Thumbs up and some appreciation there, as I'm sure you're going to get from everybody else in the chat as well. Thanks again, Plants McGee. What kind of flowers are you going to... what about something venomous, I hope? Or poisonous? Yeah, it's poison with flowers. Venom with snakes. Don't get it wrong, Lefty.
Thank you very much, Catherine. I've got Pippa from The Guardian. Pippa.
Prime Minister, I've got a specific...
Further down the line, something might come up. And well, you said that you wanted us to rejoin the EU in this speech, yada yada. I'll come back and, well, the actual words I used, it's one of those. You can always tell. It's just not a natural way of speaking.
Specific question for you and a wider one, if I may. The specific one is, if one of your MPs launches a contest, a leadership bid against you, will you fight it? And the wider one is, do you think that Britain is ungovernable? And if so, why? And who's to blame? The media, your MPs, the government, you? Thank you.
Yes and no. No, I'm not going to walk away in relation to the first part of your question for the reasons I've set out. And no, I don't think Britain is ungovernable.
The lady's not for turning.
On the contrary, one of the things that I draw great strength from is all the millions of people who care passionately about their place, their community, where they live, where they work. The millions of people who give hours and hours and hours of their time for their community, volunteering, helping others, running teams, you name it. That is a great strength of our country. I draw strength from the fact that we are a reasonable, tolerant, decent country.
We're complicit in a fucking genocide, man. Don't give me this decency crap. You're certainly not a decent person. I could go through a whole myriad, a bounty, a litany, a plethora of examples to that effect.
Let live country, a diverse country. That is the real Britain. That's not an ungovernable Britain. That is the Britain that I will fight for, particularly in light of the opponents we now have politically.
Diverse, right, yeah. Well, unless you're an anti-Zionist Jew, of course. We know the real anti-Semites are Starmer. It's Labour Friends of Israel, which is you.
Different to the opponents that we had before. That is the real Britain. That is the Britain I love. That's the Britain I'll fight for. Thank you, Pippa.
And of course, the dystopian thing against protesters. I'm not sure if I mentioned that when it was buffering earlier, but I'll just reiterate the fact that retirees and even disabled people are being arrested for holding up placards silently and peacefully in this country. Don't give us the free, diverse values, this and that. Doesn't hold water. Right, which schmuck's up next?
Jim Pickard from the FT. Jim.
Jim Pickard, FT. Prime Minister, you say you don't want...
He's already said your name, Jim. Get on with it.
And you say you want Britain to be at the heart of Europe. Are you ruling out, however, Labour manifesto at the next general election, including single market or custom union membership? Because without either of those things, our economy is very much not in the heart of Europe.
Yeah, well, Jim, what I want to do is take a big leap forward.
What I want to do is say some words that have the word Europe in them here and there to convince Lib Dem voters that we're going to rejoin and that I want to rejoin the single market, the customs union, etc. But I don't, and it's a spurious term, and in fact all I'm going to do is go cap in hand with some sense of hubris and exceptionalism to the EU and expect preferential treatment despite the way we as a nation, that is our representatives at the time, unfortunately, acted when we were going through the process of leaving. I don't think it's going to go down very well. And you're either in or you're out. There's no way of getting the benefits. Because that'll piss off all the other, 36, 37 member states that there are.
With the EU-UK summit this year, and take us closer, both on trade, the economy, defence and security. And that will then be a platform on which we can build as we go forward. And as we do that, I strongly believe we've got to...
The deal was the deal, and it was like pulling teeth, getting through it all. Of course, when Theresa May, Alexander Boris DeFaffel Johnson were in, so nauseating as it was, but that was the deal that was done, and we had all of the, will there be a deal, will there not be a deal, will time run out? We had negotiators showing up with just a pen and nothing else, plus a whole other series of calamities, and that stuff happened, Keith. You can't undo it, unfortunately. You can't. But you really have to be realistic about that. You have to... you're either in for a penny, or you're in for a pound, you know what I mean? Lily's a funeral flower for his political career. Yes, Plants McGee, thanks again for another super chat there. Great amount of support this evening. Just give that some support himself. And I'm sure that your fellow chatters will also. Solidari-Tea. So what was I saying? Yeah, you've either got to go full on with a declaration of an application to rejoin, or just don't mention it, because you're not going to please, even from a political standpoint, you're not going to please both sets of voters, those who think it was a good thing to leave, which is increasingly on the wane, you have to admit, or those that wanted to stay in the EU. Of course, most people now think, even those that voted to leave, think that it was a bad idea. Andy Carter, thanks for 5 gifted memberships. Solidari-Tea. Go up to the membership goal now. Takes us back to 113. Awesome. Big up Andy Carter in the chat, everybody. But he's getting found out on this one. Again. Trying to please everybody at the same time. And ending up pissing everybody off.
To turn our back on the arguments of the past, not open old grievances, but look forward together.
Was that a shot? Oh, God, he really is such a sniper, shit-hot sniper, Andy Carter. And again, Plants McGee receiving one of those gifted memberships. Nice shot, Andy, with another bullseye. Almost warrants its own segment cutaway itself. But very good, Andy. Excellent stuff. Right, let's crack on with Keith.
To how we make this country stronger, how we make this country fairer. And so that's the approach that I will take. I've got Audrey from the Times. Audrey.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Aubrey Allegretti from the Times.
Yeah, tell us about your anti-Semitic cartoons, you fucking piece of...
To follow up on a previous question, you said that whether Andy Burnham comes back to Parliament is a matter for the NEC. Your business secretary said as much this morning, but he also said that it would be a distraction and that Labour shouldn't be fighting unnecessarily elections. Do you agree with him? Do you think Labour can afford to have 2 by-elections in Greater Manchester for the mayoralty and wherever Andy Burnham returns? And also, if I may, over the weekend, I think you gave an interview in which you suggested that you would like to be Prime Minister for...
You can't put a price on democracy. Anyone who turns around to you and says you can't have an election because it'd be too expensive has to be an absolute fascist, basically. Yeah. Because not having elections is, of course, one of the required characteristics of fascism, per definition. Right, Vic?
You fascist junta!
10 years. Some Labour MPs have been unhappy with those comments. Do you still stand by them?
Well, on Andy Burnham, my answer, Aubrey, is the same. That will be a matter for the National Executive Committee if and when the issue arises. But just to be really clear, on a personal level, I work very closely with Andy in our respective roles now. The first person I worked for when I came to Parliament was Andy. He wanted me and his team in the Shadow Home Office. I wanted to be in his team in the Shadow Home Office. So we work very well together. We'll continue to work very well together. If the issue arises, it'll be a matter for the NEC. On the decade, look, what I'm doing is spelling out the scale of the challenge that we face. It's the same argument I was making before the election, which is after the damage of the last government, it will take time to clear that damage up and to build the better, stronger country that we need. And that's the decade that I've been talking about. Look, do I recognise that we've got to turn this...
And that always comes out as well. They always pull that one out of the bag. I've got these long-term plans and can't get rid of me now because you will get... the big mystery box, that we're going to open in 8-10 years' time. You can have the moon on a stick in a decade. You just have to stick with me. I promise. Everything will be okay by then.
Around. Yes, of course I do. Do I realise that we've got to respond to these elections in the way I've set out in the speech I gave a moment to? Yes, of course I do. And what I've done today is set out how I intend to address that task. Thank you very much, Aubrey. I've got Sophie from the Mirror.
Hi, Sophie Huskisson from the Mirror. Thank you, Prime Minister.
And then simply, his way of saying fuck off is, thank you. Quickly on to the next one. Thank you for letting me get away with not answering your question. Who are you? Where are you from?
Minister. So do you agree with Angela Rayner that
time to clear that damage up and to build speech I gave a moment to? Yes, of course I do. And what I've done today is set out how I intend to address that task. Thank you very much, Aubrey. I've got Sophie from the Mirror.
Hi, Sophie Huskisson from the Mirror. Thank you, Prime Minister. So do you agree with Angela Rayner that this could be your last chance to change course and save the Labour Party's future?
He's already had his last
and do you
chance.
think the party should move more to the left to become, as you put it, a stronger version of Labour? And if I can just ask as well, since the losses in Wales and Scotland, have you spoken
the left is going to be a big no-no.
He's
going to talk about
and what was said? Thank
how
you.
we changed the party.
Let me take them in reverse order. I've spoken to both Elaned and Anas. I'm not going to go through the conversation, but I have spoken to them, as I've spoken to many of those brilliant representatives who didn't get elected this time, and to council leaders across the country. I've spent a good deal of the weekend having those calls, but those calls did include Elaned and Anas. In relation to the task of turning this around, look, I do understand the enormity of the task that we face. We inherited a terrible legacy from the last government. Economically, public services, the NHS on its knees. And what we found when we got into government was even worse than we feared. And one of the
this is so
mistakes
fresh.
I think we made was
what
we
we're
wanted
hearing.
to level with the country about how
It's
bad
not stale
things
at
were.
all. We've not
But
heard
we didn't
this
convince people
1,000 times ad
in that
nauseum.
early period of the change that we would bring about and why their lives would be better. And that's why we have to change that and inject much more hope and optimism into what we are saying. And so
We've lost the campaign for hope. That's, of course, Green Party's clarion call at the moment. Hope over hate, hope not hate, those sort of things. And they're having a great deal of success with it. You're not going to be able to rob that moniker from them the same way you try to do by flanking reform on the right with, you know, your version of stop the boats with stop the gangs. This, it's very derivative. It's very weak.
I think Angela and I agree, and I've spoken to Angela as well, by the way, so I know exactly what her thinking is in relation to this. Thank you very much. I've got Jack from The Sun.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Oh, you're going to take a question from them, are you? You're going to take a question from The Sun? I will wipe my fucking arse with it.
Jack from The Sun, just on that point, when you did speak to Angela Rayner, did she rule out ever launching a leadership challenge against you? And also, you said in your speech just now that if you were ousted as Labour leader, it would plunge the country into chaos. Some of your critics say your government is already mired in chaos, but can you be clear about what you mean? Are you saying that because it is you with the...
What if Liz Truss had said that? What if Liz Truss had said that at PMQs? What would you have said, Keith? Did she not plunge the country into chaos? Yeah, and left after 40 days. What if she had 8 or 10 year plans like you do? Double standards, duplicitous. That, God, almost run out of adjectives. I abhor you, Keith.
Mandate. If you were ousted, there would have to be a general election.
Well, Jack's a lot bound up with that. I did speak to Angela. I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you by not going. I've spoken to Angela many, many times, by the way, in the last few weeks. We are friends. We get on very well.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go through each and everything that we discussed in those calls. But on this question of chaos, look, the question whether if a government constantly changes its leadership, the question whether that damages the country is not an academic question. It's not something that you study at university and go through.
It actually is. It's included within fucking sociology, you fucking dickhead. Of course it is an academic subject. Jeez, bloody hell. Really? Oh, there's no way, there's no metric. You can't really tell this sort of thing. We literally have examples of it from recent history in the United Kingdom as to the efficacy of it or not. Again, just to drive home the fact that it was neoliberalism, it was conservatism and austerity that was the problem, not the changing of the guard. So often, yeah, it was like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, which is all it would be in this case with Labour. But he's got to cling to the top spot, hasn't he?
Various theories. We tested it. We tested it to destruction under the last government, and it inflicted huge damage on this country. A Labour government will never be forgiven if we repeat that and inflict that on the country. And that's...
Well, we expected, of course, several visits from Postman Twat and Deliver, but wasn't expecting the word meconium to come up. But it has in the form of another awesome super chat from Plants McGee. Thanks again. Plants McGee, big up, big up. Certainly, that's the word of the stream. Meconium. That's what this speech is. It's meconium. It's toilet. It really is. There's a word for that. There's a definition for that. Goodness, I didn't even know that. Well, what the midwife... I don't know. Following the baby around with a bucket, and we need to do some tests on the meconium. I don't know. Didn't even know that was a thing, but thank you very much for that tidbit of scientific knowledge. Always like to do science proper good here on My Left Eye. That's quite fascinating, actually. Meconium. That's you, Keith. Keith Meconium Starmer.
What I mean when I say I'm not going to plunge this country into chaos. Jason from the Mail.
Thanks, PM. That was a heartfelt speech. Your own MPs, though, at the end of last week were saying that you were detested on the doorstep. Those are their words. They said that people are no longer listening to you, and that it doesn't matter how many heartfelt speeches you make, your unpopularity is dragging this government
Well, yes,
down.
I've said that, obviously.
In those circumstances, don't you owe it to them to step aside and give someone else a go at keeping these forces of darkness at bay?
Well, look, I acknowledged, Jason, a moment ago, there is frustration across the country that at the status quo, which isn't working. There's frustration that politics is not working for too many people. And yes, there are some
frustration that you're going on and on and not quitting.
But that frustration that I'm describing has been built up over many, many years by
2
people
years.
who feel that their lives are not getting better, that their city centre, their town centre, the place where they live doesn't look any better for them, that their children aren't going to get better.
Yeah, because you're not investing by taxing the rich and investing publicly, investing locally. All of the shutters are still down. It's still just a dotted series of off-licenses, bookmakers and discount pastry vendors, with the odd cheap fashion retailer here or there. It's all very bland. It's all very continuous, from what we had with the Tories, and it's because of you. You can't say that you've not had long enough now. We're only just getting started. Days are long behind you. 2 years, almost halfway through the term as it's set to last. So that excuse doesn't wash either.
Chances than they got. That is what's driving that frustration. That is deep, that is political, that is the challenge we have to rise to. I mean, it's not a frustration that can be just cast aside easily. It's deeply bound in the status quo that has failed for so many years, and that's why we have to turn that around. And I've got Bethan McGinley.
Hi.
Bethan.
Hi. So you've talked a lot today about giving young people hope again, but for many young Britons, things like home ownership, secure work and financial stability still feel further away than it did for previous generations. Why should they believe that this government can reverse that?
Well, I think it's such a good question, because I think young people have been very badly let down, whether that's on opportunities at work. We've got the best part of 1 million people, young people, not in work. That's going to have a huge impact on them for the rest of their lives. People who can't get on the housing ladder very quickly or at all. And we have to instill...
Yeah, 1 minute, things great, look at what we've done. It's doing a fucking party political broadcast for almost half an hour. And then, everything is so terrible, isn't it? People are struggling and I'm really concerned for them. And dross.
The hope in them. We do that by changing what we're doing to help people get into work. We do that by taking better protections for renters. Too many young people are spending a lot of their income on rent, therefore they can't save their money to pay for a deposit.
Well, then where's all the social housing, Keith? It's not there. The majority of anything that's going into housing is private. You set yourself this ridiculous target of however many houses it was. You're nearly halfway through your term. You're not even nearly a third, or probably even a fifth of the way through your own target on that front. So don't start talking about that, because it is, of course, the deregulation of the housing market twinned with the greed of estate agents, etc., and landlordism. That is the problem. That is what you need to nip in the bud. But if they don't have any other choice, then that is why they're suffering, and that is why millions of renters are at the moment as well.
We're changing that with the Renters' Rights Act, which came into force just a week and a bit ago. And we're changing that with the hope of a better future and the sense in which they will be able to work, travel and study in Europe in a way which hasn't been possible in recent years. And in the end, those young people are our hope, because that's why I gave the example of my mum and dad. And it's a very real example, because I think, very many people, when they get towards the end of their lives,
they'd be thoroughly
do
disappointed in
say,
this.
What was my life about? And for my mum and dad, in material things, they didn't actually have a lot to show for their lives.
He's the only person in the world with parents, by the way. This is a very exceptional case that he keeps bringing up, the fact that not one, but two parents Incredible. Incredible.
But they had this deep comfort. I could really feel it, this deep comfort inside.
It was almost like I was their son.
That they, my mum and dad, Rod and Joe, that they had contributed to a country
Oh, he's going first names
where
now.
the next generation would have better chances.
Rob.
That is the real...
Is that what he called them? Morning, Rob. Morning, Joe. It's Mum and Dad, Keith.
Come on, we've got to do it properly. The status quo. I really want to be the status quo. One day I will be Sir Keith.
Hope and optimism in young people, and that's where it resides with me, because I think, as I said in my speech, that's the greatest hope of all. So thank you very much for that question. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
It's done. God. Fucking, the ring's gone into the mountain of doom. It's over. Oh no, it's actually not over until he leaves the stage for the final time. But we garnered 6. I do have to admit, I was admitting more from the amount of time he spoke. But yeah, 6 delivers and postman twats. That was really, that was a test. That was a challenge. Ooh. That was something that, well, I guess I've given, yeah, most of my thoughts as it went through. I'll do a very brief synopsis. Let's just get this off screen. First and foremost, right. So that was it for that special episode of Postman.
Delivering the plan for change.
I'm not sure how many more episodes of Postman Twat there'll be. In fact, if Keith resigns, it's probably going to hit about 60% of our content, so there will be other new features coming soon, which it will be our utmost pleasure to design, having seen the back of him, of course. Right, it's getting late, so we better plough on through a few more bits. These are the 70. I won't read all of the names out. Just try and get as much of that in as I can on the screen. But there's 70, make it a bit bigger, MPs who have so far called for Starmer's resignation. Can you see your MP on there? Let me know in the chat. For now though, how many do you think there will be in total, according to the poll? 42% of you think under 100. Currently in the lead though, somewhere between 100 and the 172 required, but not quite there. 6% of you think they'll get over the line, and a vote of no confidence will be triggered with 172 or more. See how many names get added tomorrow. Quick scan through the list. Let's find some notables. Of course, Catherine West is on there. She just once again, as a reminder, withdrew that threat to launch a leadership challenge, should none of the cabinet do so by today. Yeah, sort of chickened out at the last moment, I guess. You'd expect Richard Bergen to be on there, of course, quite a few names that you'd expect. I'm sure, oh yeah, there's Clive Lewis. Clive Lewis's name, John Trickett, of course. Clive Lewis said in that clip yesterday. But can you see your MP's name on there? Let me know. We'll have to move on swiftly. Just a few more added sort of stats and things we're going to go through. Post locals. We all know how terrible it was for Labour overall. And now, of course, with the prospect of resignation hanging in the air, despite that rip-roaring speech from Keith. This is what the seat estimate would look like if West Streeting actually prevailed as Prime Minister. So it does look at 5. That's bad for Labour. Look at it. So they'd be left with 5 seats. 5, where are they? Which 5? There's one in Greater London I can see there, but that's just because that section's highlighted, but I don't know where the others would be. Yes, according to this, Reform would finish on 373. The Greens on over 100. Tories losing 104, but Labour losing a whopping 406. They just actually say, oh, it's YouGov. Actually, it's YouGov? Well, I guess that'd be good for the Greens. But nah, I don't know about that one. 5 seats? I think that's a bit too fantastical. Another one now, just a general review of London results. You can see central London there. Clearly going somewhat green. Up 261 councillors to 279. That's huge. 22% vote share as well. Up 10%. They've doubled the vote share in London. 1.9, just shy of 2 million people voted for the Greens as well in the locals, which is double pretty much what it was last year. Minus 460 seats for Labour in London. It's very poor. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Vote shares falling in the tens and tens. Any Londoners in chat, let us know how it turned out for you, but just looking at somewhere specifically, because I'm pretty certain that we do have viewers in Islington North. Just a reminder of this one, because it's pretty interesting, where local elections compared to general elections is concerned. Of course, Jeremy Corbyn held Islington North, the parliamentary seat, as an independent at the last general election. But this runaway win for the Greens here with a 39.1% certainly contradicts that, and you have to ask the question when it does come down to a general election, will these trends be repeated, or will there be some sort of conflict there that is on the left, the fight for the socialist votes? I don't know, because obviously we're talking about Corbyn's seat here. I'd like to know your thoughts on that one, because that's a pretty sort of hot political potato, as it were. For me, that one could spark up. Could we see some sort of unofficial coalition? Who knows? It's just quite an interesting one. There was another sort of random clip I was going to show. I can save that for another stream. It's sort of almost universal, as it were. But I will go on to this. I did, of course, say that Palestine will be coming up, not just during Keith's speech, but last night, of course, we had the BAFTAs. And whilst Adolescents grabbed all of the headlines with a record 4 wins, there was actually a win for the documentary that was removed from iPlayer. Do you remember the Gaza Doctors Under Attack documentary? And it's gone on to win a BAFTA. So take that, Ebe. Yeah, fantastic stuff. And we're going to see a bit from the acceptance speech. I did manage to see most of it before it was removed from iPlayer. I've been able to see it through other means in full since then. It is extremely gripping. It's extremely real. But you really can't hide from what's happening in Gaza. And what's happening as well with doctors whose testimonies in the film will... there's some pretty strong stuff in there. Let's put it that way. So here's a bit from the acceptance speech. Well done to the makers of the film. Well done for actually standing up to the status quo.
And the BAFTA goes to Gaza. Doctors under attack.
This award means so much to us. These are the findings of our investigation that the BBC paid for but refused to show. But we refuse to be silenced and censored. And we thank you.
I'm sure they'll be using that sound bites on the news on Radio 1, won't they?
Thank you. And we thank Channel 4 for showing this film.
We also want to dedicate this award to Jabba Badwan and Osama Al-Ashi, the 2 journalists on the ground who made this film for us. So I'd like a round of applause for them, please. Just a question to the BBC. Given that you dropped our film, will you drop us from the BAFTA screening later tonight? Thank you. Bye.
Oh, yes. Bit of sly at the end. Bit of a dig. Oh, that was cold. Let's just have that last bit again. Nice. Throw that shade. Yes.
Just a question to the BBC. Given that you dropped our film, will you drop us from the BAFTA screening later tonight? Thank you. Bye.
Oh, direct challenge. It must have Kirsty Walk as well, giving the award out. Haha. Well said and well done. Once again, that's a great result, isn't it? That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I'm not sure if I can get away with describing how you'd be able to watch it on a stream. To be honest, I don't know. I'll have to err on the side of caution where that one's concerned, but I'm sure that there are ways somehow. Shout out to all the members once again, and thank you for all of the gifted memberships on tonight's stream, as well as super chats. Your contributions been incredible. Fantastic to see the community grow as well, as always. Yeah, however you choose to support the channel, thank you very much. Whether it's Buy Me a Coffee page, all of those button pressy things, hype points, and so on and so forth. And yeah, good point in the chat there, Andy, about the outlets now that it's won a BAFTA. Of course, it's like, okay, well, balls to whatever the BBC think. We're going to put it out, and they'll probably, yeah, have great success with it. I hope they do, because it's something that everybody really should see. I will be, excuse me, apart from coughing, apologies. I will also be calling it a night soon, but don't go anywhere, people. Let's queue up the raid. Just see who's around. And hit the notification button if you want to keep up to date with all of the content on the channel as well, of course, whether that's the next stream or the next video. The last one, of course, was a bit of a slightly rushed analysis of the local election results, but do check it out, these people. Sorry it's so slow this evening, that's one of the reasons we had the buffering earlier, I think. But I will find a raid anyway before the stream ends. Here we go. And after all that, there's nothing live apart from Al Jazeera. But there you go. That's the way it goes sometimes, folks. Right, good people. All that remains is for me to thank you once again for being here on the Brews at 10. On my left eye, I've been your humble host, Lefty. Power to the people. Free Palestine, Lebanon, Sudan and Yemen. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Don't watch the news, be the news. My left eye, I'll be seeing you soon. Good night. Solidari-Tea. Oh, and thanks to Left of the Box for a raid. Apologies that I didn't see that coming in live. I was too focused on Keith. But shout out to Left of the Box. Thank you very much for the raid earlier. Solidarity.
Right, off you go. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. That's easy!
The door is open and you can leave.
It's what Hitler and Goering did, and it is textbook. And if you think the next time it happens, we're gonna recognize it because they're wearing scary uniforms, you're out of your damn mind.